Hi, welcome to the Celebrity Gossip Channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the Tory Lanez update versus Megan Thee Stallion. Sorry I have been away for some days. I have recently been ill. But yeah, let's get into the video. So on day one of the trial, we saw Megan and Tory give testimony. The prosecutors had a run through of what Megan's claim was, saying that they had come back from the party. They went into the car, she wanted to leave, and he then shot at her allegedly and said, "Dance, be dance." So after the testimony, then Tory's legal team then denied the claim because in the day one of the testimony, Megan admitted how she was assaulting his skills as a rap artist, and apparently he got offended. So they're saying apparently that's what led to their argument. That's what Megan is claiming. That's what she claimed in her testimony. And also on day one, the prosecutor also admitted, in advance that Kelsey would be confirming Megan's claim, meaning that Kelsey was defending Megan Thee Stallion that claimed that Tory allegedly shot her. They also claimed that Kelsey had a text message that Tory shot Megan. The prosecution was also saying, as evidence, that they had evidence that Tory had called Kelsey and was apologizing several times. But the issue was, of Tory's defense, his legal team was like, but that's useless. You can't really use that because Tory wasn't actually specifying what he was apologizing for. He was just apologizing. So my guess is, I think when they come back to that in court, Tory's legal team, I do think they're probably going to make it seem like he was apologizing because he had an intimate relationship with both of them, which I think there may be some truth to if he did not, in fact, shoot Megan. The prosecutor spoke in court. Tory's defense was basically that they're not being completely honest, and they're not saying how Kylie Jenner had to basically throw Megan Thee Stallion out because she was too rowdy. And Tory's team also gone about how there was an eyewitness that witnessed Megan and Kelsey fight. The defense point, aka Tory, so after they left the party, he was basically saying that he confronted Megan about her allegedly messing around with men that Kelsey had been with first. So he basically said, "So Kelsey, how are you defending Megan when you were with me first, and then she went behind your back and was with me then?" And then Tory was basically saying that this isn't the first time Megan has done this, that she has a history of doing this with the baby. And then she allegedly went behind Kelsey's back and hooked up with Ben Simmons. But Ben Simmons did deny this, and so did Kelsey. So that one's a bit, up in the air. Then on day two was a little interesting, I'm not going to lie. On day two, we basically saw Megan change her story on the stand. Now, this is not a good look at all because Megan does have a long history of changing her story, which is why, a lot of the GP don't really believe her. I know she wanted to go around do magazines and say it's because she was a woman, or a woman who was a light skin, or whatever ridiculous reason she was given. But the real reason why people are not believing her is because her story kept changing. And obviously if you keep changing your story so much, people are going to struggle to believe you, because every time they hear you, something else is coming. That's different. And then not only that, also on day two, they asked Megan whether she knew Kelsey. They've known each other since college, that they did everything together, that basically saying how close they were. And Megan admits in court how she basically was struggling, was stressed out because of the case, which is understandable. So Megan was basically saying, giving her testimony, for why she had to leave, and she said she had to leave because apparently her wig was getting loose. So she probably felt embarrassed about that. So Megan then says in court that she wanted to leave. She told the driver, but then the driver says he can't leave without Tory. Then there was an argument in court from Tory's team when we could say were arguing that Megan was the one who actually didn't want to leave without Tory, not the driver. Megan testified in court that the argument actually started because Tory confronted her, about snaking out Kelsey. Then obviously the argument escalated. So they were basically arguing, so the argument escalated. Then it ended. Well, then Megan wanted to leave. They tell her to get back in. So then they get up to the shooting part, and Megan then says that she was looking outside, around, and saw Tory standing with the gun aiming at her, and then he shoots her 5 times apparently. And one of the biggest issues that she had in court, and obviously caused a lot of confusion online, was when the prosecutors were asking her, so where was Kelsey, in the midst of all of this, when Tory was shooting her. And Megan was confused. She basically admitted that she didn't know where Kelsey was, that she couldn't see her, which would obviously confuse a lot of people, because Megan had literally said before, or prior, that Tory and Kelsey were sat next to each other. Ben asked Megan, so where was he when he was shooting? She says he was standing over the window. Then they started bringing his height involved to determine, to really see if it's possible. And then Megan says that he's around 5'3", 5'4", and they were basically saying that that's not possible. So they were basically saying that that he's not tall enough to shoot over the window of an Escalade. And Megan was basically saying that she's not sure if he was standing on something. So then they were asking her that does she know what side Tory was shooting from, and she said the passenger side.
Oh my God! When we walked out of that courtroom just now, every single person was shocked. Every single person was frozen. A lot of people were looking at me like, bro, tell me what is going on. Kelsey took the stand. Before she even started talking, there were fireworks. This started with Kelsey coming in and saying she is invoking her Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and not testify. When someone invokes the Fifth Amendment, they have to be invoking it because if they were to testify, they would be giving testimony that incriminates themselves. She said, I will not testify because I would be giving testimony that I'm incriminating myself. That's what it means when she invoked the Fifth Amendment. Now, the government offered her immunity. They said that we will not prosecute you and use this testimony against you, so please testify. Her lawyer came back and said, I can't even explain the tension. They asked her, at one point, did Tory ever say that I'll shoot you? And she said, I'm invoking my Fifth Amendment right, which suggests, they asked her, what's the context? When did he say I'm going to shoot you? She said, I invoked the Fifth, which suggests that the context was Kelsey was doing something, perhaps Meg was also doing something that would incriminate her. That's the context. That's what I get from it. That's my opinion. That's my read of it. For those of you who have been telling me that I'm biased and that there's only one angle to this story and that a man pulled a gun and shot 5 times at another woman and that the prosecutors haven't charged him with attempted murder, but I'm biased. If you believe the story that a man pulled a gun and shot 5 times at another woman, he hasn't been charged with attempted murder, and now you have another woman in the car saying, I plead the Fifth. Kelsey is done testifying. We're on a 15-minute break. This has to be quick. The key moment of her testimony, I think, has to come down to when the defense attorney elicited testimony from her suggesting that there was a physical altercation between her and Meg. Kelsey seemed very hesitant answering these questions like she didn't want to say. However, she then said, hey, we both got out of the car. You will remember Meg testified that Meg got out of the car. She does not know where Kelsey was. Kelsey was on the passenger side and that she turned around and she saw Tory shooting at her. Kelsey testified that this part she remembers. She and Meg both got out of the car and that there was a physical altercation. Kelsey described it as a bump. The defense attorney was like, really? You guys are super drunk? You just got into a yelling match with her over the fact that she was hooking up with Tory without you knowing. You also mentioned to her that this wasn't the first time she betrayed you like that. She had done it with one other guy. Interestingly, the defense had said it was Ben Simmons and DaBaby. Kelsey said, I only named one name. She didn't confirm if it was Ben Simmons or DaBaby. And the defense attorney's like, so after all that, you guys both get out of the car, and all that happened between the two of you was a bump? I'll tell you, I don't think anybody in the room believes that the only thing that happened between Meg and Kelsey that night as far as a physical altercation is a bump, especially not when the rest of the testimony confirmed that other than discussing how she's going to be moving out of the Airbnb that she was staying at with Meg and she's going to be going somewhere else, other than a brief communication about her living arrangement, the two of them have not spoken. They have not called each other on the phone. They have not met in person.